Via web interface. Show recording is on. Dual channel.
Where to Hunt podcast. It's okay.
Hi, I'm Dan Small, host of Outdoor Wisconsin, and I listen to Where to Hunt.
It's okay.
I'm Kurt Geyer with Working Class Bow Hunter. I listen to Where to Hunt podcast, and it's decent.
It's all right.
Hey, this is Bud Fisher with Catching Deers, and I think the Where to Hunt podcast is all right.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Where to Hunt podcast, the podcast that connects public land hunting enthusiasts, aka the okayest podcast in the Midwest, coming at you from the Okayest Hunter podcast studio. If you haven't heard of or been to the Okayest Hunter website, head over to okayesthunter.com. You can use code W2H podcast for 10% off and save yourself some money. Seen a lot of orders come through there for Christmas. It looks like a lot of women are ordering, which I suspect they're buying for their Okayest Hunter husbands.
Could be.
That's my guess. But yeah, I'll order from all over the country, man. It's been a busy month.
That's awesome.
Well, actually, it's been 8 days. November was a busy month. December's busy too. Busy time of the year, I guess I should say.
It certainly is. Everybody's trying to get gifts purchased for their significant other, their kids. Their
Yeah, we were just talking about this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say any product names.
No,
I don't want to
I'm going to say a word.
Give anything away for who you're buying for or what you're buying for.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to do something a little bit different today for our sponsor call-outs. We're just going to do a quick rundown. So be sure to check out Backwoods Grind coffee at backwoodsgrind.com. You can use code W2H podcast for 10% off. Head on over to gumleafusa.com. They make some great rubber boots. W2H 2020 for 10% off. Heated Hunts. They make a Heated Hunt Scent Spencer. Code WHERE, the number 2, the word hunt for 10% off. Vector Custom Shop. WHERE, the number 2, the word hunt for 10% off. Spartan Forge. Head over to spartanforge.ai, and I forgot the discount code, so I'll put it at the beginning of the podcast when we do post-production, but you're going to get 20% off, which is huge. Fleet Farm, fleetfarm.com, code W2H10 for 10% off. And hey, guess what we're drinking? Well, I guess I'm drinking by myself here.
You're drinking alone.
Drop Time Spirits, 12-point bourbon, baby.
Nice.
This is delicious.
Oh, yeah. How is it that we have 2 partial bottles here?
Deer Camp and Podcast Room, and they just, I want to bring a full bottle of Deer Camp to get the full effect. And we already had one here, so I think
you guys
that's how
were sloughing off. That bottle should have been empty.
Yeah, we had some other stuff too. This beer barrel bourbon that my buddy brought from Michigan. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty tasty. So we were going back and forth. And then lots of bush lattes.
Beer water?
Yeah, we drank, I think, like close to 230 packs, which might sound like amateur hour, but there were 6 of us, and like one of the guys like wasn't drinking, so 5, and my dad was drinking wine, so 4. So between 4 dudes, I think we handled it pretty well. All I know is when we cleaned out the cabin, it was like all bush cans in the trash. Or the recycling bin.
The recycle bin?
Yeah. So there's that. All right, let me click into this thing here and see if anyone's actually watching or commenting. And all I know is when we clean. There we go. Cool. Well, so today, no guest. I think you and I are just going to talk about first recap of the whole freaking shebang.
Yeah, up till now.
Yep. And then like how to hunt now. Like, what are we doing for a late season? And by we,
me.
Yeah. And, is there a second rut, a third rut, and how does that play into things and so forth? So,
well, the rut has just continued on, I think, but it's going to go till I've experienced up till Christmas just about.
Okay.
Chasing and tending of does, but it all depends on the area that you're in.
I think it'll go till all the does are bred.
Exactly. And it could go into January.
No doubt. Well, I guess I know we went out this year in January. Yeah, it makes it seem like forever
we
ago.
did. We did go out in January.
But man, that was a long time ago, especially considering the shit show of a year that we've had.
Right.
My God.
Before all this stuff started happening.
I'd have thought. So, recap. We both tried some new things this year, or at least like I tried a bunch of new things. You were already shooting heavy arrows. I think, did you already have an HHA sight?
No, but I had a similar make. I had a Spot Hog on there before, but we put together the HHA sights, and
again, me. This is great.
Yeah, I mounted it up for you and got it pretty close, and then you had to do all the fine tuning, and it didn't take much. You got it pretty well dialed in. Mm-hmm. They sent us Virtus rests also, which unfortunately Virtus did not fit your bow. Yeah, but it fit mine perfectly. In fact, I'm really impressed with how tight that thing fit. I mean, there's no movement in it whatsoever. It's a nice fit. But shot that, got that all dialed in, and everything worked really well for me. Yeah, and you did some paper tuning. I did a lot of paper tuning. When was it last? I think it was last March? It was this March. Isaac yeah, so we had COVID, right before it. It was right before COVID. We had, or maybe it was February, late February. Yeah, it was. It was cold. Isaac and Michael here. Yeah, and then we got connected with those guys, and then we started messing around with arrows, and then I got really geeky with it and just started. I asked them to send me components, and I went down the road of building and tuning my arrows to my bow rather than taking and tuning the bow to a specific arrow. And I mean, it's definitely a heavier, more extreme arrow. It's not 650 grains, but it's close. It's pretty heavy arrow. And that's including the broadhead and everything. Oh yeah, this is full hunting weight. It's ready to go at 630 grains. So heavy insert, 125 grain iron wheel broadhead. I love that broadhead. It's been money for me. It even served as a plan B arrow. I mean, look at my doe from opening day. If I were shooting a really lightweight, my old arrows of 480 grains, I don't think I would have gotten that kind of results with the way I ended up hitting that deer. You know what I don't miss about opening day? Mosquitoes. Yeah. Well. Woo-hoo-hoo, they're all dead. Or they're like frozen or whatever they're doing. Yeah. Not bothering me. Yeah, and you had the full pass-through, full body length pass-through, which I've never seen anything like that before, and apparently the internet hadn't either, because I shared it to Instagram and I got like 50,000 views. That's wild. Lots of commentary, and it did stink, as some people had noted. Yeah, I mean, when you travel a length, you're going to hit something that's not ideal. Yep. You know, the stomach being deflated right after the lungs. Yeah, it's par for the course. Yeah, it was a mess. Yeah, it was dead. A mess, but it was dead. The meat was still good. Took care of it and got it to the processor right away. Typically, I don't take deer to processor. I usually do them myself, but moved to a new house and I don't quite have things set up the way I want them yet to do it. And it was warm. It was, yeah. It was pretty warm. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I could have done quite as good of a job on, you know, the quality, the expediency and the quality. Yeah, the quality of the product at the end result was pretty fantastic. Dwayneski just asked, Grego, what's the speed on that arrow? He's curious. I don't know. I know I'm not that geeky. I don't own that kind of equipment to take it. I didn't take it and shoot it through a chronograph. I really don't know what the speed is. Probably slow as fuck. It's slow. It's slow, but I'm going to tell you right now. Flies like a rock. My bow has never shot quieter, and my bow is pretty quiet to begin with, but it's never shot quieter. Okay. And you're shooting a Matthews, right? I'm shooting a Matthews, and Matthews bows are pretty quiet, especially the Halon. I shoot a Halon 32, and everything, you know, Triax, all them bows after that have been really quiet. Okay. They've been super quiet. They got string suppressors on them already. They just do a good job of dampening the riser. It's a fairly quiet bow, and then when you shoot a heavy arrow, be it aluminum or carbon or a combination of both, it's a pretty quiet shot.
Now, was it harder to dial it in because the arrow is heavier, like because it dropped so much faster when you went further out? Was it
So
trickier to go through that process, or was it similar?
So that's always the hang up, especially if you're a guy that is wired for speed. Like you want as fast of an arrow as you can get. That is always going to be the disappointment factor, I guess, is like, oh, man, that arrow drops awful fast. Sure, it drops fast.
Drops deer fast too.
It drops deer fast too. But at 30 yards, it probably dropped 4 or 5 inches lower than the old 480 grain setup I was shooting. Actually, it was closer.
It's
to
funny. I did the
490.
same when I was shooting mine. I was going back and forth to kind of see the difference.
Yep.
And like one just went into the dirt and the other hit the target. And
Right.
I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's a big difference, but your sight is adjustable.
Right.
So adjust your sight, and especially if you're doing it early enough in the year. Like I started in March, and I had nothing but time between answering tech calls and emails. If I wasn't going into work, guess where I was?
Between that and playing in the woods.
Yeah, or messing around with my bow and playing around with arrow and weight combinations. So, yeah, it was an adjustment, and you just kind of put that out of your mind, because if your bow is that much quieter, the deer aren't jumping the string as much.
Well, when those guys were here, Isaac and Michael, they had said, like, no arrow is faster than the speed of sound.
No.
So
it's not.
I still don't know what the hell went wrong with the one I missed.
I think you just you saw it, and I think it was
something.
I think it was kind of a shell shock moment for you, where you saw that thing, and it was a nice deer, and it was close, and it was like, oh crap, and it was a quick, and then you kind of overthought some things, and then maybe you blacked out a little, you just kind of
blacked out. But I remember feeling pretty calm and collected.
Yeah.
I was like, there's the buck. I got my bow. I'm drawn back. I see brown. That's where it should be. Let her rip. And I was like, what the heck? Just didn't add up. And, I was way less nervous than I thought I would ever be. I thought I would have been like, you've seen videos, people shaking, and I wasn't doing that. I was just cool as a cucumber, as the saying goes. And
and I've done it too, where same thing. It was like, oh crap, there's a buck. Turn around, come full draw. And I don't know what I did wrong, but I shot right over the top. I misjudged yardage clearly.
If I would have seen that one sooner, I probably would have been more amped up.
Probably.
But I saw him, and it was just the right amount of time for me to not do all that. I was like, it's time to act, not time to think.
Yeah. Let the instincts take over and do it. But getting back to the wormhole, it's fine. Getting back to the whole heavy arrow thing, I made the sight adjustments, and then I started tinkering around with more different combinations of weight. I played with a 250 spine, which, you read all the online forums, and everybody's looking to kill T-Rex with a 250 spine and a 300 grain broadhead up front, which, cool. If you can do that and your bow likes to shoot it, great. My bow, I played around with a stiffer spine and a heavier point weight. I think I went all the way up as high as like 325 grains in the nose of a 250 spine. That was,
and again, just to clarify this, the smaller the number on the spine, the more dense
it's stiffer.
Or stiff it is,
It's
right?
stiffer, and it's also a thicker wall, so it actually equates to being a heavier grain per inch arrow.
Mm-hmm. And just for those that don't know, the vector arrows that we're shooting, they're a thick-walled micro diameter.
Yep.
So
carbon arrow. They're a heavy carbon arrow. So I played with that. It didn't paper tune very well. It looked like a nunchuck tear through the paper. Mm-hmm. And I tried knock tuning it out, and I'd get close, but I'd still have a side tear, right or left, no matter what I did.
Yep.
I thought, well, you know what? Hell with it. I'm going to throw fletchings on it, because that's what fletchings are supposed to do. Fletchings they're going to tame that out of it. They're going to help it fly. So I threw fletchings on it, and I got them to fly. I got them to fly just fine. But a 700 grain arrow, you might as well throw trees at them, It's a heavy arrow. It's heavier than what I needed to throw at something. It's cool. It's definitely slower. The bow is ultra quiet. And it'll do some damage. I mean, I was shooting it right at a Reinhardt block target, which will gobble up arrows pretty good, but I was getting half the arrow passing through it. That's pretty impressive, but also excessive.
Okay.
For what I wanted to do.
Right.
So I thought, I could gain some speed. Let's knock down to the 300 spine, and I'm just going to start shooting with a lightweight insert and just keep changing my point weights. So I went through all of the different. I bought the test pack from Ethics Archery.
Yep.
They sell the Ranch Fairy kit, and they sell a couple other ones. So I picked up the Ranch Fairy kit and just started working my way up through different weights, and then found a combination that just seemed to fly really nice. Bare shaft. I got it to bullet hole through paper. Bare shaft from, I think I started off at like 20 yards just
Called
to see.
knock tuning, right?
Knock tuning. I started off 20 yards well, and then I did some research, and you don't need to be 20 yards from the target. If you're paper tuning through 20 yards and you're getting a bullet hole, then you're really doing well. So I moved up to 21 feet away from my target, shot through the paper, and was getting a perfect bullet hole, no right or left tear, after I got to tweaking the knock around and making sure I was hitting the stiffer side of the arrow shaft. So I figured out a combination. My bow liked it. I put fletchings on it. Perfect arrow flight, no issues whatsoever.
So the fletchings at the end of the day were like, well, you're willing to
put
those on there.
Yep, the fletchings. I don't need a lot of fletching. I don't need a big fletching, but they're tall enough. They're the Q2I veins, I believe. So they're.
And you have it's a 3 vein.
I was shooting 3 fletch, and then I played around with a 4 fletch, and I actually got the wider broadhead that I'm shooting to fly better.
Did you test out the other one from Ironwall?
No, I've not. I've shot it into the target, but I've not shot an animal with it.
Oh well, yeah, no, but you've let it fly out of the arrow and.
Oh, it flies amazing. So if he does end up bringing that to market, it's gonna be a very accurate broadhead, and it the way it twists into the target, I would imagine it's gonna do well.
I'm sorry that I'm only half listening.
Oh, that's fine.
I just got
Are
the
you
discount
sleeping over
code
there?
from Bill over at Spartan Forge.
Okay.
The code is W2H.
Imagine
That's
that.
what it is. 20% off. My God, I'm an idiot. This is... I'll throw all my sponsors on the bus right now. If they would just all use the same discount code, it would be fine.
Right.
But everyone's got a different one.
Well.
For I'm assuming different technological reasons or what have you, or marketing purposes,
Sure.
blah, blah, blah. Sure. Anyway.
But yeah, I came up with an arrow combination that my bow liked, rather than going back and forth to the bow shop and trying to get, a twist in the cable here and there. I built an arrow that my bow liked, that shot bullet holes through paper, bare shaft, and fletched them all up, and away I went. Built 6 good killing arrows, and the rest were for target shooting.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
I remember when I talked with Isaac for the first time. We were introduced through like some mutual business colleague through an incubator from all. I can't believe that happened this year too. It was 3 months of my life that are like feels like forever ago. And you're like, I've never heard of this company. Who is this guy?
Yeah.
They don't have much on their website. What the hell, Eric? I don't know about this. And then, I was like, well, I think they're going to be on the podcast. Let's come on by. And we
Yeah, it was
like,
cool.
It was like bromance at first sight, It was great. I was like, it evolved so fast and they've come so far since then. That was, like I said, back in like February, And
Yeah, those guys have really done well. And I think just everybody home and looking for something to do, picking up a bow this spring through the summer has really helped businesses like theirs, because they have the time to be able to build you a custom arrow.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if they really had the time, because he seemed like he was awful swamped.
Yeah.
Like his business really did well, and now they're looking to improve on it.
Yeah. Yeah. They're getting some processes in place and some help and some, whatever. They're doing some good stuff.
Yeah.
And we did make good friends with HHA Sports also.
Yeah.
you and I got to go to Stevens Point for the veteran shoot that they put on for HHA USA.
Certainly.
And Chris Ham was a guest on the show a couple of times. He's coming back next week.
That'll be cool. Get Chris back on.
It's interesting is I was shooting like a trophy line site, and then I won an HHA. I forget their base model, not the optimizer.
It was below that
one.
But it's still a decent site.
It was. Yep. I can't remember. But then we got the optimizer from Chris and threw that on there, and the adjustability of that, like the one below that I had to like unscrew something to loosen.
Yeah, that one was the pendulum type site.
Yeah. And this one you just put the tape right on there and you spin it to where you want, and it adjusts right on the fly.
Right.
I killed my buck at 35 yards with that sight and with the vector arrow, and I didn't use the same broadhead as you. I'm not. I wasn't ready to drop that cash on it yet, but
it did the job.
And I wanted something immediately. I didn't want to wait in the mail. I wanted to go to the archery shop and pick it
Right.
up. So I ended up picking up the QAD fixed blade.
Yeah,
that was nice. But those are some of the improvements that we made this year, and honestly, we owe that to this show. We learned about new products. We made some good friends.
Made good connects and made new friends, and hopefully we helped them out. Some of the people I'd like to be able to help more, but we're doing what we can for them.
Yeah, and it's fun to put the stuff into practice, and we've also learned a lot about like tactics and styles. We spun up a new segment this year called Tactic Talk. We talked to all sorts of guys that are putting down big deer from all over the country and practicing different styles and methodologies and different things like that. And I don't know about you, but I was pretty hungry to get out there and try a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, there's never enough time in a season, it seems like.
No, and you only get inside of a season, there's like seasons inside of the season. Like things change and evolve. Food sources dry up, or crops get plowed, or whatever you get cut, and like things are evolving pretty rapidly. So you only have so much time to try some of these things out anyways, because in 2 more weeks, something will change. The weather's going to change. A cold front will come through. Pressure will kick up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Scrapes start popping up. Rub lines pop up.
Yep.
They stop using scrapes. They're more intent on following does, and they don't. If they're following the does around, they really don't need to mess around with scrapes, and they do what they do.
So I think for us early season, we spent a lot of time in the marsh and trying to get close to this bedding area that you identified. And
spooked out.
I never saw anything back there.
No.
Saw the sign, but I never saw a deer. I saw some bunnies, which I was like, I didn't realize rabbits frequented marshes.
They do, very much so.
I was like, look at all these bunnies back here.
Uh-huh.
But no, it was. And thanks to you again, though, I hunted out of a stand for the first time in many years. I hunted out of a stand the previous season, but I got like some old stuff, as we all know about,
right?
Which, because of the age, the complexity of like setting it up, it's so much of like a barrier, or so much friction in it. Like I just, I'll hunt from the ground.
Sure.
So I was doing a lot of ground and pound before I came in contact with you, doing all this other hang and bang stuff. And I would traditionally was hang and bang, but then it just got to be too much. It was just too much effing around. And so I went to the ground, and now I'm back up in the tree again. And next year I want to be in a saddle. I just don't even want to carry the turtle shell on my back. No. But that's me,
Yeah, you got a comfortability with going with something that works. It's proven to work. It's not hard to hang a lone wolf's tree stand.
No, it's super easy.
Sticks go up.
And I'm not even trying to complain that much. I just want to get a little bit more nimble.
Cam lock your stand in and pull your stuff up, strap in, and away you go.
The best part about the season was out of all the sits we did, I was pretty high up for most of the sits.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one I ended up killing out of was 1 stick high. I jumped out of the stand when I got that deer.
All that excitement.
I was like, jumping down. I got to go see if this thing's dead. And I couldn't believe it. But I killed out of the stand. I did. And it made for a great shot. He didn't see me. I don't know if he would if I was on the ground. If I was eye level, he probably would have saw me draw back.
Yeah, and that's where you got to figure out where the fine line is. If you're too high, you're getting silhouetted and skylined.
Yep.
If you're too low and they're walking in and you have very little back cover, or, there's nothing in front of you, you stick out like a sore thumb. But if you're elevated out of line of sight, but just enough where you can hide behind the silhouette of your backdrop, you're in good shape.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
You're in real good shape.
I enjoyed sitting in that stand this season. That was good. It was good that you were able to lend that to me. I was really grateful for that. And your setup and system, the way you have everything that, like, this strap's here and this goes there and these like this way and the back, like,
it's not good. Perfect, but it works. It's doable.
Reinhardt, it's the hat he wears. I did have this exact hat on when I killed the buck. This is the okayest leather hat. And I guess this is my lucky hat. So guess what I'm going to wear every season? This damn hat. And it was one of those times I didn't even give a shit. I just was like, I didn't even have any of my stuff. I was like, I'm just got to go. I told Holly in last possible minute, I'm going hunting. I'm going hunting right now. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm out. I got to go before the sun goes down. 1 hour of light left. And I left the house and got it done in a half hour.
And that's how that goes.
It was crazy.
I mean, the last time I shot a buck with my bow, it was the same way. It was like last minute, got home from kids' soccer game, and I got to go. I'm just going to go out there. I've gotten my tail kicked out there the last 3 sets, haven't seen anything or saw something that was too far away, or, I found a deep hole wading through water, and I went into my belly button, filled my boots and everything with that heavy stand.
I'd be like, that sounds...
But, I kept trying. And then it was like, I'm going to go out one more time, 3rd of November. I'm going to just go out there. It is what it is. I'm just going to go find some sign, and I'm going to go set up on it. Well, and then I end up running into a hiker way back there, and then, well, screw it. I'm just going to set up anyway. And I did. And an hour and a half, 2 hours later, I ended up killing one. That's the way it is.
You ran into a hiker back there?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember when I thought I ran into a hiker.
Yeah.
It wasn't a hiker.
It was not. Very much not a hiker.
Oh, man. It took a lot for me to, like, keep my wits about me and, like, remember everything that I preach.
Right.
Eric, this is public land. You're the public land hunting enthusiast. For fuck's sake, don't get that angry. I was like, what the F are you doing out here at last light? Who are you?
I remember God. We were texting back and forth, and you're like, there's a freaking hiker back here. I'm
blowing through the bedding.
I'm like, what? And I had just had a doe come through with it. I could have easily shot. And by this time, I already had 2 does.
And I was like, I want to shoot a doe at this point. Like, I'd seen 0 does and all bucks.
Yeah, you've seen all the bucks, and I've seen all the does. So that's just the way it went this year. But
turns out this guy was a hunter, and he was hunting there in the morning. So God don't even knows what the hell he did to blow the spot up in the morning.
Right.
We had hunted the night beforehand, right? It was the night before?
No, we gave that spot a break.
Small break.
We gave it a 1 day
break. It was the
break.
last spot that I had hit, and I saw 2 bucks, 1 big buck, right? And I only ever saw his rack, and it was huge. So, I thought, okay, now we know where he's bedding. We don't know what's going on here. Let's give it another shot. I'm going to adjust based on wind, et cetera, and went back out, and sure enough, a doe comes running through, and I heard all this chomping around, and I thought, oh my God, here's the buck. He's chasing her, right? This is what's going on, and I'm going to get him. And it was a dude wearing like bright green, and he had gotten off of. It turns he ain't sat in that damn area, so I eventually climbed down and I met up with him.
Yeah,
he's like, "Oh, sorry, dude, I never even saw where the hell you were. I heard you whistling at me, and I was out here this morning. I shot a doe, and I thought I'd come back and look at my arrow, and make sure there's no blood on it, and I couldn't find anything." And
yeah,
so come on at last light, dude. Like, damn it. But he was really nice about it, and. Appreciate me being nice about it. And he's like, it is what it is. And he felt super bad. And so I was like,
it's all part of the deal, and all you can do is be nice and polite and, maybe even offer to help the guy find his deer. Or
I told him to download my app.
Yeah.
Go download the Hunt app. Get away from me.
I just remember you texting me that going, well, I let that doe walk through, and come closing time, and I started breaking down. And then I just looked to the north where you were, and I see flashlights. I see 2 flashlights. I'm like, oh, maybe there's 2 guys there, or maybe one of them's Eric and this other guy. I don't know. Then I heard some talking, and I'm like, I'm just getting out of here.
Yeah.
So, rumor has it, though, that big buck was taken.
One of them, right? There's a couple of big ones. Do you think it was the big one that I didn't see it? I looked at the Wisconsin report. I was trying to scroll, and it probably got buried already because there's so much being posted there.
That
I'll have to check. Or you have to show me.
Yeah, no, the one that you saw, I believe, was taken on a local piece of.
I got to look at that then.
Private in the area. It's not on you will not see it on any social media.
Oh, I thought you said it was on the Wisconsin report.
No, not that one.
Okay, well, no, I just I don't know if you have a picture you want to show me later or something.
Maybe later.
Yeah. Okay. I want to see it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Season recap, man. Tons learned, tons put into practice. New gear, new stuff. Like you were rolling with the Exodus trail cams, like hot and heavy. I mean, how many did you have set up? Like 7?
Yeah, I had 7 of them running. I like those cameras. They do real well for me. I mean, there's a couple other brands out there, but I like those guys. They've been good to me as far as like if I have a little
product.
thing. Yeah.
They do a good job in the videos you share and post and all of that. I mean, it looks good.
The quality of the video out of the lift too was pretty awesome.
The one you had where that buck was sitting back watching that doe, and then he ran up.
Yep.
That was pretty great.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. But they, for their price point, I mean, the next level up camera was probably a Reconyx, and that's a $500 camera.
Yeah, you're not putting that on public land.
No, I'm not. I'm not
you
putting
might
that
even
on there.
put that on private land. To be honest, like
Right.
people are out there with freaking wire cutters, man. They're cable cutters. They'll do it. They'll go out and do
they'll
that.
rob it.
They'll bring a stick. They don't give a shit.
Yeah, I code my cameras now, so you know what? Great, you took it, but now it's a brick because you're not going to figure out my code. You're just not.
Yep.
Oh, well. Yeah, I mean, it's been a great season. Otherwise, probably one of my best seasons for getting quality deer on camera. I mean, I've got probably 4 or 5 good ones on the camera and managed to hang on to 3 of them on camera now, and the other 2 have disappeared.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's one of my best seasons. I mean, I've had eyes on bucks before. I think the season before this one was historically my best season ever, hunting those ox bows, getting eyes on big deer, and but not able to close the gap, right? I was in the right area. I was in the right area, and I got fortunate that I was able to hunt that conservancy property that I got drawn for. That was a big part of it, but I knew where to go based on all the learnings. And then this season with you, I've had shots at big deer. And that's new for me, and so like I've never seen this many bucks on that many separate hunts.
I'm also putting you in high percentage pinch spots where I know deer move through a lot.
Yeah,
and that's why I put you there. I didn't really care so much about me shooting a buck because I've shot bucks. I know what it's about.
Yep.
And
look what I did when I went out by myself, man. I went to a pinch point.
You went to a pinch point,
and I've been.
You succeeded.
The advice I'll give as the okayest hunter, if I can give any, which I don't have a lot of ground to stand on, right? I've gotten one fucking buck on public land, and everything else I F up all the time.
It's part of the learning curve, man.
It is what it is. But I will say that paying attention to the wind has been the biggest. It can take you, if you're a novice or a beginner hunter, it can take you from 0 to 60. And then all the other stuff is fine tuning and learning and practicing.
Right.
And that's always a never ending game. It's like golf. You could go out and golf for the first time ever. Until you figure out how to like have a follow through on a swing, suddenly you're going to go from hitting it 2 feet in front of you to hitting it down the fairway. And big, huge stride of improvement. Now you can play the game. But now you got to work on your putt and I don't know anything about golf. I don't golf. Fuck golf. But whatever. I'm just saying, reading the wind, understanding the wind, and how to position yourself in the wind in proximity to where you assume or know they're bedding and where they're traversing, that whole game has been like my, drug this season. I mean, I think I was messaging you more than you were messaging me. I was like, this is the wind tomorrow. We got to make a move. And this is the spot. And like, I was all about it, man. I've never been this about it before. And the wind was by far my best indication of how we were going to tackle something.
Right. Well, and
I'm obsessive about it.
And it's second nature for me to go, well, we can't hunt this spot.
Yep. Or we got to access it from this area.
Yeah. Or we got to access it all the way down over here. And that's one thing we're going to work on next year is our access. This is where more scouting this upcoming, after season, when I'm done either whiffing at something or not seeing something, whatever it might be, we're going to go hit it hard.
Yeah, I want to push you a little bit further out of your comfort zone with the water access. I took that canoe of Joel down the river. Mm-hmm. Monster in an oxbow.
It's not a, it's not a discomfort thing for me. A
or whatever it is. I don't know. I know you were pretty honed in on a target buck, so maybe that's what it was.
Well, that and he's still out there, thank goodness. To my knowledge, he's still out there. We got one more day with black powder that somebody could take him. I might throw a sit tomorrow morning
With Bo? What
Yep.
is tomorrow? What the fuck? What's tomorrow? Wednesday?
Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Tomorrow's Saturday?
It'll be the 9th. It's the last day of black powder. But I can go out there with my bow and still hunt a buck. And then we have a doe season, a doe only season.
Yep.
So,
Which you get plenty of does.
yeah, and
Unless you feel like butchering one yourself, I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get another one. I was given orders to shoot another doe for the freezer. My
What are you in the whitetail militia?
I might be. I might be. I like to kill deer. What can I say? I like to eat them too.
What can I say? I like to kill deer. We do have a caller.
Uh-oh.
We know this caller. Hey, Clayton, you're live on the Where to Hunt podcast. What's up, buddy?
Hey guys, how you doing?
You're gonna have to quiet up that background noise there, Chief.
Oh man, sorry. All right, I'll have to call back some other time. I'm just finishing up driving.
We'll accept it. What's up, buddy? What do you got? We'll take it.
Well, I was just saying, as far as like season recap stuff. I think you were just talking about like stuff that you've learned. I feel like over the last 3 months or so, I've learned a whole lot about just being able to read deer signs, because that was not something I'd ever really done before.
Sure.
But reading deer sign was obviously it was instrumental in me taking down my first buck this year, and that's all we did when we were out there.
Yeah, you scouted for 2 days before we gun hunted. You got to the property 2 days early and scouted, and you were the only one that got a buck. So and it was a beautiful buck.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I still think about it. I still replay that moment in my mind like over and over and over again. But I think putting in that actual putting time in the woods, can't shoot it from the couch, right? But
Right.
Putting time out in the woods was so beneficial. Just meeting the sign and saying, oh, there's a rub. Hey, there's another one. Oh my God, we found a rub line. Okay. And then you just kind of go from there. Hey, there's some scat. There's some, there's a scrape. And just seeing that stuff and kind of getting a good idea of where they're moving is key, but also when. Is this a fresh sign? Is this a couple days old? Is it from earlier this year? And my father-in-law was able to teach me a whole lot about that stuff, and I was willing to learn. And I think that's a huge aspect of it, is just getting out there, learning as much as you can. I think next year I need to focus more on the wind, because you were just talking about that, and I know really nothing about how the wind affects everything. So I think that's going to be one of my key goals next year, is working on the wind. And how that relates to where I'm setting up every, in a stand or a blind or anything like that.
That's awesome, man. You give any credit to this podcast for learning any of that this season?
I give so much credit to this podcast. Like seriously, without even without trying to make your ego.
That's what I was looking for.
He can barely fit in the door the way it is.
If nothing else, this podcast got you drunk.
How do you both fit in the same room at the same time while you're doing a podcast together? I have no idea. But yeah, I mean, I've listened to this show quite a bit. I mean, especially while I'm out driving around for 12 hours a day. It's just listening to all the other hunters talk about their experiences, their techniques, and stuff like that. It's been night and day difference from this year to last year, as far as how comfortable I am in the woods and how much more I'm paying attention to things that I would have just glanced over last year.
Good.
Well, you saw 2 bucks at the same scrape. So the second one didn't see you and you shot him, so it worked out. How many minutes apart? 45 minutes apart?
Definitely worked out. Yeah, it was about 45 minutes apart. I thought, and I for sure thought I blew my chance. I thought for sure I blew my chance at shooting a buck. And I was really down in the dumps for a good 15, 20 minutes. And then, lo and behold, not too much longer later, dude comes out right out of nowhere, just 35 yards in front of me. And I was like, good night.
You could have shot that thing with a bow and arrow.
You could have, yeah.
Oh yeah, I could have. I mean, 35 yards is. I haven't had a whole lot of practice with my crossbow, so I don't know if I would have taken that shot. What I knew was a 30-30. He was done. There was no way I was gonna miss him.
The best part of that was you text me buck down. And I'm like, oh, cool, he got a buck, and then I see the picture. I'm like, oh shit, he got a buck.
That's a buck. Yeah, it was a big guy. I mean, I'm super excited, and I don't know. Like I said, I don't think I could ever top that as far as like a first year goes. And I think everything else is going to kind of fail in comparison to that.
Now there's room for improvement there.
I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. Oh yeah, there is, but I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. I think I don't know, man. Like I'm hooked. I'm hooked. Like I said, I'm already taking vacation for next year camp, and I'm ready to go, man. I'm ready to go.
Cool.
Well, dude, thanks for calling in, man.
But yeah, I just wanted to call and say, hey, for sure, man. Be safe out there.
You too.
All right, bye, bud.
Thank you. See, and that's always encouraging. We have friends of the podcast that enjoy what you're doing. No.
No.
This is your rodeo. I'm just
your
the clown.
rodeo.
No, your rodeo. I'm just the clown.
I'm the clown. Let me tell you about that right now. I don't know who the fucking clown is. Who put me on all the bucks? Who taught me how to do stuff? Who gave me the truth? I'm the fucking clown.
I didn't give you everything.
Look,
you had to put through effort. That's all you needed. You just need someone kicking in the ass to give you some get up and go. That's all you needed.
Yeah.
You just needed.
But what I said the other day, so I actually guested on the Outdoor Medic podcast last night. It'll air next week. But, I was talking about you a little bit. And
that's why my ears were ringing.
Exactly. No, but I was saying up to this year, I've never had, I've had a couple buddies like Mike and my buddy Shane. They've come with me on hunts. But like, they were like me as the expert hunter. Like, oh, Eric, you're going to take us hunting. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But like, I haven't had somebody that's like, above my level or at my level of interest or care to go with, and you've been that above my level for the record.
I wouldn't say above, but I'm at your level,
but we're both there. You know what I mean? Like
I enjoy helping people out. I mean it's been who I am all my life. Mm-hmm. I guess I take pride in helping people. That's what my job is. To help people figure out what's going on with whatever it is they're working on and help them solve their problem. Not that you had a problem,
well,
but there's always room for improvement, no matter what you do in life.
Of course. Yep.
So, if there's something I see that maybe what I'm doing might be able to help somebody, great. If not, they'll look at it and go, "Nah, this isn't my style. This isn't my speed. Mm-hmm. It's not going to work for me." No offense.
No.
Everybody does things differently.
But like having a lot of the friends that I have are hunters, you know what I mean? They're not like serious hunters. They don't like care about as much as I do. They're not like, and the ones that I do, they don't live nearby. Like my buddy Dave, he's up in Glenwood City, and he's a really good hunter. Like honestly, I'd probably slow him down. He'd be like, fuck you, Eric, I'm going to go do my own thing.
Right.
When he lived down here, we went hunting twice together or 3 times maybe. And, he's like, you drop me off here and you go do what you're going to do. And I'm going to go do what I'm going to do. I was like, oh, all right. And I said, did you see anything? I didn't see anything. He's like, no, I saw a couple. I'm like, of course you did, damn it. And you've never been hunting here before,
Right. Well, it's all about reading.
But it's
reading
nice
sign.
to learn this stuff. That's kind of having someone to like spar with and learn. Like next year, we know, I think the biggest lesson learned was like, when does pheasant season open?
Oh, yeah.
When do the birds get released?
Well, we knew it was coming, but it was like, well, we could take a chance on this spot or we can just...
Yeah. No, never again.
No. And now that I know that, I threw a sit at another spot further in from that, and it was money. There's good sign in there. There's a scrape in there. There's bedding in there. And it's a transition from another spot. It's a good spot. And I would, again, if we were to do it all over again, I would have had us sitting there instead.
But we knew that spot performed well before that season opened up, right?
We did. We had good footage from my
daylight movement that I shot at.
Yep. And I even had daylight movement on cameras in that spot too. But this was before bird season opened.
That's the other funny thing. I know I'll never look at a trail cam picture the same ever again. Every trail cam picture I see now that I'm taking this more serious and I've learned more stuff, I zoom in, I look at the timestamp. Bro, why are you showing me freaking pictures at night?
Yeah.
Let me see the daywalkers, you know?
Yeah, it's cool to see them, but it's not
correct.
killing them. It's
Right.
not killing them
Yep.
at all.
And
You
then
just know they're there.
As the season starts to, kind of commence and get further in, you're like, oh, look at that. You're getting closer.
Uh-huh.
Oh, here we go. So,
Yeah, we got a few of those bucks that were like, oh, a week later, if he does this and I'm sitting over here, I have a chance.
Yep.
I have a pretty good chance.
And you're like, you better effing be there.
Right.
Yeah, it's cool. Man, I don't know. I think next year I want to be out of a saddle and I want to run some cell cams, and not to be like hunting a cell cam, like hunting over a tip up for my cabin,
Right.
where I can see it and make the run out there. I'm just saying, like, I don't have the time to run 30 minutes away and get my ass in public land to pull cards.
Right.
But I would like to keep some inventory myself for some of the areas that I hunt here locally too,
And a cell cam, what you're able to do too is you don't have to worry about pulling a card, but say you're
Yep.
sitting it there for a week and you're really not seeing much of it, maybe does and fawns or
Mm-hmm.
nothing at all. You can rule that area out for at least part of the season,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe the first part, but then again, depends on how early, what time of year you're putting that camera there.
Yep.
It's great for intel. They're going to be going.
Good for inventory and then some intel, right?
Yep. They're going to be going from the bed to the food. They're going to be hitting all the better ag fields, the alfalfa fields and things. And most of the time, those alfalfa fields are out in the middle of, close to the road or whatever. Deer, bigger ones are definitely not going to be going out there during daylight hours. They
Right.
might a little bit. They might peek out and get a little bite and then hang back. You don't know until you set up a camera there.
Right.
But your best spots are going to be to collect intel of daylight movement are going to be secluded food sources.
Yep.
Those bigger deer are smart. They know when they've got a good area of cover that they can slip in and out of real fast and get a bite to eat.
So, Greg, we got whatever. We got like a couple more minutes left here, 15, 10 minutes, whatever, something like that. Second rut, third rut, food scarcity, cold weather, maybe snow. Like, what's happening now? There's still guys out there, including yourself, that are trying to get it done, still hunting this later season into January. The hell should we be doing, man?
Well, I'm not an expert, but
what are you going to do?
If you go listen to the experts, they're telling you, yeah, this is like second rut, or rut is still going.
Mm-hmm.
Rut is still going, and again, from my experience, all the way past Christmas.
Look what Bo Martonic put down with with our friends over there on the East Coast.
Yep. Yeah.
With Johnny Stewart.
Well,
man.
and they put on a drive to move that deer.
That's a big freaking
That
deer.
is a dandy of a deer.
And they knew what they were like.
Yeah.
John had seen that deer.
And
years
John
past.
John knows that area like the back
Yep.
of his hand.
Yep.
So that's beneficial. Where I'm hunting an area I know pretty well, but I know there's some spots in there that I'd like to know better.
Mm-hmm.
So my approach going forward is if I sit tomorrow, I'm going to go hit one known bedding area where I did kick a nice buck out of the second day of gun season. I'm going to go try and I can't hang a tree stand in there. That's a ground hunt. That's going to be me getting into some brush, hopefully getting close enough to where that bedding area is early enough, and maybe catching a deer coming back. They may have.
So
they
you're
may
gonna
have
do a
already-
morning sit, or
I'm going to have to do a morning sit before work.
when you're here podcasting, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
All right.
That's right.
I'll be talking to you at 4:00 in the morning tomorrow.
Well, I don't know about that. But that's my first plan, is at least try and get an eye on one in the bedding. Maybe he's going to have does with him. Who knows? If we do get some timely cold, that's going to pressure the deer to get on the feed bag a little more. Right now, it's fairly warm. They don't have a need to burn a ton of calories unless they're being chased around by bucks. We still have some does going into heat. So sitting on a field may or may not yield some kind of luck. If it is, it's going to be really good luck.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still going to probably look at doe bedding areas right now. If we get some cold and then get some snow to blanket things, that's going to be a switch. And yeah, they'll be definitely going to better food sources. So crop fields with waste grain, any standing corn, there isn't much left out by us at all. The corners of the fields that maybe were missed by the combine, the deer will be coming and hitting that if they haven't grazed it off already. But I'm just going to keep getting in between bedding and food, closer to bedding, not so much to the food. It's just how I'm going to try and do it.
On that.
Yeah.
Bill Thompson just mentioned in the comments he had bucks working scrapes at noon yesterday. I know he's traditionally had the most success during second rut. I think only one of the bucks he shot in his hunting career was was like, oh my God, what am I trying to effing say? Wasn't from second rut. All of the others, and there's plenty, were from second rut. So he's like ride or die second rut.
Sure.
And I know he's been out putting in lots
What's
of time.
nice about hunting that second or later rut,
The pressure
drops off tremendously.
Right.
Now you got a couple of diehards like me that will hunt
Bill.
all the way till the end.
Yep.
And I've been doing it for I don't know how many years now. You know, even if I have 2 tags filled already, I'll still go because I like doing it. There's something to be said about going out, toughing out the elements, and seeing whitetails come through the snow. I don't know what it is. I just think it's a cool thing. Snow is going to definitely get them moving to food. I said that already.
Do we have any snow in our forecast?
No,
Just curious.
we've got nothing.
We got nothing, man.
But
I'm
if we
surprised.
get it, if
I'm
we
not-
can get
I'm not mad.
some snow cover and a major drop in temperature with like highs in the teens and 20s, I mean, or even hovering around 0, deer will be moving midday. Then, I mean, that's a good opportunity to definitely hunt more so the food. The deer are going to bed closer to the food and graze in the middle of the day where they're in the sunshine. If we get a day that's, you know, hovering around 0 or the teens and we get some sunshine, those deer will be out feeding while it's warm, middle of the day. And that's not a bad play. It's to sit in the middle of the day, you know, go out there late morning, wait till the temperature starts to come up, maybe to the teens, almost 20. Then you'll be in pretty good shape to be sitting on a food source.
Okay.
I've done that. I've seen that. And I've had it where, I was way off the food because I didn't have permission to hunt that food. And traditionally, deer would come through that area. Well, by the time I got there, it was too late, and there wasn't hardly any fresh sign in that spot. They weren't using that brushy cover, one, because it was cooler. It was on the northern end of this area. They were bedding more closer to the south, where they had southern exposure, where the sun was keeping it, thermal cover warmer for them. And then they didn't have far to go to consume the calories they needed to survive. So they bailed out of one area and moved a half mile south on me. I've had that happen.
Are you running trail cams still?
I have 2 sitting out. I really want to kick those other ones out. I wanted to move them around, but with the amount of gun pressure this area gets, I didn't feel really optimistic that those cameras would still be there. So
I'm excited to get some
get a few more out.
some of those cell cams going. I'm gonna lay them where I got my buck and see if I can. I didn't have any opportunity to really actually even explore that area. I didn't even get back into where I assume they were bedding. Although I think based on where the buck that I shot came from, I was right about where he was bedding. But I think there's bigger ones back there. So I want to do some scouting there.
I wouldn't
for
be
sure.
surprised that there were bigger ones back there.
So that'll be a fun one for me. That'll be like, I'll have to kind of save that in my back pocket and I don't know, see what I can do.
Yeah.
But that'll be next year. I don't know. I hope everyone's had a good season or is still out there trying. I know a number of folks that I see that we follow on Instagram are still they're trying to get it done or trying to fill a second tag or get more meat or whatever. And soak it up because after this comes, the black hole of, well, now what do I do?
Well, there's ice fishing and plenty of scouting that can be done off season. So, I mean, typically I'm going in right after I'm done bow hunting. when it's over with, I'm going in there and making use of hopefully some snow cover to figure out where the deer are going.
Yeah, I want to do that too. I like to bring my dog out, Ed, and let him run around like
Sure.
like a total goof.
And there's plenty of opportunity to rabbit hunt and squirrel hunt. Turkey hunting will be coming up.
That's a big one.
You know,
People
and by the
jacked
way,
about that.
December 10th, for those of you who are looking to go spring turkey hunting here in Wisconsin, December 10th is the deadline for your spring turkey permit.
That's 2 days.
2 days. So
you think I
get
should probably
on.
do that, huh?
Yeah, you might want to do that.
All right. I guess I'll try to kill a turkey this year.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
All right.
Give her a try.
Cody just asked, any tips on hunting river bottoms late season? Any advice helps?
River bottoms late season. River bottoms, I don't have a ton of experience hunting river bottoms. I've got my experience in swamps, but I think it's somewhat universal to where there's a lot of browse in river bottoms and swampy areas. Like that area that I took you into, that hellhole. There's a lot of red brush in there, dogwood, and they browse. They're already browsing it because it's a simple food source. All I got to do is stand up, walk 2 feet off the bed, nibble on it, stretch their legs, get their circulation back, and then go lay down again.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say river bottom, if you know you have an oxbow, because that's a great place for a deer to go.
To bed.
To bed.
And that is like, I don't know, like we didn't come up with the term. We're not experts on it. But I'm
we're
saying,
not
like,
experts on
like,
it, but
it
all makes sense.
Take a freaking kayak or canoe down a river and tell me how many deer you kick up, and they're going to be in what's called an oxbow, which is the
it's a bend in the river.
And they're going to be
on the inside peninsula of that bend.
Yep. And without doubt, man, like when you know you're coming up on one, it's time to slow the F down and get real quiet.
Get very quiet, and
because you're going to kick them up. And I almost shot one from the canoe this year.
Yeah, you could have.
I was about to draw back on a doe in an oxbow from the canoe, and she just, by the time it all started like come to fruition, it just couldn't happen. But I was gonna freaking do it, man. I was like, I'm gonna shoot a doe from the canoe, and Joel's like, oh my god, do it. And then we saw a buck, 2 bucks, one small one, one big one. So like 3 deer down a river, all in oxbows. So I'll just.
What's really gonna do it for you, no matter where you're hunting, though, is scouting.
Yeah.
Like if you haven't been in this area in a while, or you maybe been just kind of tiptoeing around it and just hunting the very edge, it's time to just go, you know what? I need to go in and scout it. I need to see what's going on in there.
Yep.
If it even piques your curiosity to do so, just go and do it. So what? You're going to blow a few deer out. That's part of the deal. Anytime I walk around, I mean, look at all the areas I've scouted in the spring. I'm always bumping deer. Mm-hmm. To me, that's a good thing. That means deer are there.
Well, especially in spring, who gives a shit? Bump. Like, kick them all out.
But even during the season, okay, so what? You bump a couple does. Maybe you did bump a big buck. I mean, I bumped my one big buck second day of gun season. I couldn't get a shot at him. It was just too thick. But that just gave me more confidence in that area, going, okay, I had an inkling about that spot. I've scouted it in the past and knew that there was some bedding somewhere in here, but the area has changed, meaning the bushes got taller, some of the trees had died and fallen over. I don't have some of the landmarks I used to have, but I know historically deer use this area, and there's paths through there. There's 3 or 4 intersecting paths. Get on a path, walk slow, and just wander your way through.
Mm-hmm. And like, for the record, we're smarter than deer.
We're smarter, but they make us look pretty stupid sometimes. So
just now, hopefully that helps, Cody. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but like, and think about access too. Like, what's going to separate you from hunting pressure? I don't know if that's late season or what have you, but like, can you get there from a canoe or kayak? Does it make sense to take one now? You've thrown some weight or some frog togs. Like, what are you going to do to, get a little bit further in?
Right. And the only thing I can say is I could be, quote unquote, the best deer hunter in the world and think I know everything about certain types of terrain. But if you are going out there and putting down the boot leather and scouting that area, you're going to know about what's going to be best in that area before I would.
Mm-hmm.
So scouting is going to help. Go out and scout it.
Great question. Thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we're going to end the live broadcast. I don't see any calls in the queue, and that's the last comment that came through. So we'll get this thing buttoned up into podcast land tonight. It'll be live later on this evening and ready to listen to throughout the week. So thanks for tuning in. Have a great night and hunt public.